man, don't think it can go on forever, I'll be honest. Anyway, double rant over from Game of Thrones to Dragon Ball. I think it's time for the news. I should do this. I should not rant before we go on the news because I got a lot of rant to do here. Well, the news is just basically a big rant, isn't it? Anyway, let's jump into it. News time. Welcome in, everyone, to... Oh my god, I kind of love this. I was wondering what this was going to look like. I didn't check. All right. Welcome into the news. Oh, my head looks really weird like this, doesn't it? Welcome to the news for April 9th, 2022. It is a not too busy week, I'll be honest. Not a crazy amount of stuff happened. A lot of just kind of almost updates and stuff like that. We're in that lull period where I feel like we're going to get a lot of weeks like this leading up until E3. But there's some interesting things at least to maybe jump into here. So let's start off with the namesake for today's stream. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 opened with 25.5 million that it made in international theaters. So it sees an increase of 2% revenue compared to the 2020 movie opening overseas. So that's a relatively small amount, but it feels appropriate. I feel like a movie like this, sequels generally don't make as much money as the originals, and a sequel to a game movie that was talked about to such a degree. This feels about right. I'm actually honestly surprised that it made as much. I thought it'd make less, but I'll be honest, as a Sonic fan, which, man, I have not subjected you guys to all my Sonic stuff at all, and one day perhaps we will. Sonic 2, the movie, actually looks all right. I haven't watched the first one. I don't know if I really want to watch the first one. I probably will. I'm planning to watch it so I can watch the second one, I think. But it sounds like they sounded pretty generic. This movie actually looks a little bit better. I don't know if it is better, but yeah, surprisingly, it seems to be pretty looked positively on, and perhaps this means that we might get a little series of Sonic movies, and we might get Sonic 3 next. The weird thing is, this movie is kind of a weird amalgamation of what seemingly is Sonic 1 and Sonic 3, with dashes of adventure in there. But that's totally okay that they're just changing it up, whatever. But it's like, I think the fact that the spectacle looks bigger in this one, it looks like we're actually getting like proper Robotnik robots. We're actually gonna get like the Master Emerald, we're getting Knuckles, we've got Tails in there. I still think it's very weird having other actors voice those characters rather than their actual voice actors. But as a not modern Sonic fan, I'm not attached to those voices per se, but I do think it's interesting that they changed that. But yeah, maybe I'll watch that movie and give you guys a review and be like, you should watch this movie because it might be good. I don't know. We'll see. See how to use the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreaker Marionette Spider. So if you guys didn't see, so Monster Hunter does this stuff every now and then, or leading up to different things, where they tease different mechanics and things like that. Now, if you didn't play Rise, base Rise, the wire bug was the major mechanic, and wire riding was essentially the new system, which was the mounting system expanded essentially. But the Marionette Spider was there was a spider that we essentially got that sort of one shot allowed you to ride a monster. This is a new version of it that seemingly looks very familiar. If you've played World, this will look very familiar. Which, unfortunately, this is the Twitter compression is really bad. We'll let this loop. But essentially what you can see here is you can say a Tigrex being grabbed rather than being pulled down so you can mount it. It's being pulled into an object. Now, this is interesting, but it's not a major change in a sense. But that fall down animation, because we've seen Tigrex's fall down animation in World, this is straight up the Clutch Claw. They have reintroduced the Clutch Claw to Monster Hunter Rise, which I'm not very excited about. A big difference is this isn't just like a permanent. It's seemingly a pickup endemic life, so you're not going to be able to necessarily loop it as easily as you did in World, where it was a plague. It was pretty much any monster that was able to use this ability on, you would just do this and loop it. But in this version, it seems like you have to pick up a spider, which I don't know how many of them are on the map. The normal spiders, so you can get the mount, I think there's only 2 of them generally on a map, and they kind of off the beaten path. If these are the same, speedrunners will not use this. Most general people won't use this. It's really people who are struggling on particular fights where a knockdown is available. So if we get an equivalent to tempered monsters in this game, probably won't be very useful because it probably won't work on them. Similarly, we got those Apex monsters essentially in base Rise, and I would imagine that would not work on them. But yeah. Oh no, chat. There we go. I thought the news crashed for a moment there. But yeah, that's cool. Hopefully we see some other stuff. I heard rumors that there is, well, not rumors, but there essentially is a TikTok account now for the Monster Hunter team. And you know me, I'm not a TikToker. So if they put exclusive news up there, I'll be a little annoyed. But very likely they'll probably put the same news up on Twitter and TikTok. So, yeah, gonna keep an eye out for this. Only 2 months away, I think. About 2 months away for this. So perhaps I might have to jump into Monster Hunter, prepare for Sunbreaker to come out. We'll probably end up spending a lot of time hanging out with the Sapphires again. Elden Ring patch update. Further changes. Star Scourge Radahn. I probably should have put this in the update section. Oh, it is in the update section. It just automatically went to the different one. We won't go to that. We'll come back to that. Ron Gilbert is working on a new Monkey Island game. So, I have not played a Monkey Island game in a very, 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 very long time because they are very, very old games. They have been remade and republished and all that sort of stuff, and they look good. Supposedly, I'm fairly sure there was a Monkey Island where is it? I haven't got it on here. Supposedly there is a live action TV series of Monkey Island that's going to be coming out. But instead of getting that news, we're actually getting a Monkey Island game, which I didn't. Oh wait, so hang on. So there's actually a trailer. I didn't realize there was a trailer. So this is actually an announcement. I thought this was just a little teasy thing. This is pretty cool. So I haven't actually seen this, chat. I really like the art style.
Ron Gilbert told me he'd never make another Monkey Island unless...
I wonder if Ron's gonna actually voice some stuff again. I'm actually kind of excited. That had like good energy. I actually think that had good energy. I'm kind of excited now. I was not expecting it. It looks like it might be a proper Monkey Island game, and it's being done by Digital Devolver, which I feel like that's kind of appropriate. That feels like a good fit. So, hell, this might actually be cool. All right, well, we'll keep an eye on that. Really, I have to temper my expectations to where we see more. But if the comedy lands like old Monkey Island, this might be a good experience. Exciting. All right, moving on to another exciting piece of news. Epic launches Unreal 5. We're actually finally at that point for the release. Unreal Engine 5 is here. So if you guys don't know, we've been in 4 for quite some while. We've had 5 being sort of teased and talked about, and we've seen demos and all this sort of stuff. This is officially the next generation's big boon. This will be the thing that takes this current generation into the next generation fully. We've had some game studios already making games on this and sort of prepping it, but some of the tech in this is just absolutely insane. And yeah, I don't know if they've got any little trailers here, but we've already got some of the studios that are already going to be involved with using it, which you will recognize quite a lot of different studios here. But holy shit, it is exciting to see this, because a lot of the time people will talk about how consoles are the next step in generation. Yes, they are. A lot of the time they are the thing that essentially is the sort of essentially the buffer. PCs can go on way further because they're just way more powerhouses. However, consoles will act as sort of a gate, like as to the lower end of generally what games will be made for. However, the big step up is when the new engines come out, and generally associated with the graphics card jump as well. But this could mean we could get some even shinier next-gen ones that will really utilize the consoles of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. And I'm kind of excited. I can't wait to see some of the tech stuff. We've already seen the biggest announcement that of these ones upcoming is Crystal Dynamics announcing Tomb Raider, which Crystal Dynamics having the support of Square Enix and being as big as they are now means that it probably will be a very, very, very big and shiny game. So as a tech demo, that probably will be one of the biggest ones for it to begin off with. But yeah, big list of game studios that are working on using this engine. Of course, there's some real like sort of standardization ones, like Xbox being dead center, of course. We've got Digital Devolver, we've got Obsidian. I'll be interested in what they do. Ninja Theory, Tencent, Focus, The Initiative, CD Projekt, Supermassive. Well, CD Projekt's interesting because they've only recently stated that they're going to move to it. Double Fine. There's a few of these studios are actually a little bit smaller. There's PlayStation, People Can Fly, Frost Giant. There's lots here that you guys would probably recognize. Gearbox, but I would say a lot of these studios will not utilize it to the full degree. There's a lot of ones I would say are a bit more indie or a bit more alternative. IDOS is on here as well. So there's like some of them are the opposite though, where they're the ones that will really take it to really extreme degrees, like CD Projekt. I would say CD Projekt, Microsoft, PlayStation, IDOS, Gearbox kinda. So yeah, it's a good start, and we're probably going to see some crazy stuff in this generation. AI, the Somnium Files, Nirvana, the Initiative trailer. I don't know if I still am holding off from watching any trailers relating to this game because I have not finished AI. I kind of want to stream it, but I'd have to play that game pretty freaking quickly because I've already played, I would say, half of it already. It's a relatively short game, but it kind of happened during a period when I got a little bit unwell, so I couldn't finish it and I couldn't focus on it. So as a detective-like game, I need to kind of have all the facts in my head. I'd have to probably start over, which would be fine because that means we can jump into this. And you've not seen the AI series. There's some wacky stuff in there. Hey Kuro, speaking of wacky, banana? All right, let's get a banana. Where's your banana? Too bad you're dead. All right, where is it? The pixel banana? I guess the pixel banana. And we'll hide it. We'll hide the banana. I just put it like it's like a little ear banan. I've got a little ear banan. Little hidden ear banan. But yes, if you didn't see, so these are the costumes that are supposedly coming out for the game, which is very strange. So if you don't know, AI is, or I is essentially this little AI over here from the first game. This seems to be the new one, and she is a little eyeball that can generate like a body. Very quirky like character, but for some reason, the costumes you can get for them is the hot dog suit. You can just get a hot dog suit as their characters. And that makes sense. If I will have to play these games, they are a bit weird and wacky. I won't interact with everything in them, but I definitely want to play them. And if you don't know, this girl is from the original, so I'm guessing she survives. I don't actually know which one of the AI Siminium Files storylines, because the way it works is that it's actually branching paths that seem to unify at some point, and there is a true ending. I have no idea which one of the true ending, but it must be one where she survives. So, yeah. So that's a little bit of a spoiler for me, but that's okay. I should have gotten around to finishing this game already, but I'm excited for it. Nintendo 64, Nintendo Switch adds Mario Golf on April 15th. So this is this month's game for the Nintendo Switch for the online service, and it's the golf game. I'm not a huge fan of Mario Golf games. I'm not a huge fan of golf games just in general, but I feel like getting all the staples of like the Mario sports, all the Mario spin-off games onto the Switch is the smart thing to do. And we have like a lot to still go, I would say. There's still some very cool things that are happening that will be able to come out. And they're still releasing SNES games as well. But I just want to point out, by the way, I was completely distracted while I was talking there. Look at the inside of Donkey Kong's mouth. This render has no shading inside his mouth. So you've just got a lit up mouth with a red tongue inside. That's very weird. But yes, Mario Golf. Speaking about re-releases and remakes, Pocky and Rocky Reshrined, a game that I'm not actually 100% sure came to the West, but I've always seen it and wanted to play it. And this looks like a really good remake. This actually looks really nice. So I hope this comes to the West, because it says it's releasing in Japan. Oh no, it does say in the West in June 24th. So I might pick this up. I might want to play this because this looks genuinely quite fun. So it's a top-down shmup. It's very Japanesey. It's very yokai, and you know I like that stuff. And the art is actually really nice, and it looks like they've cleaned it up quite a lot. I'm not 100% sure if it looked this good originally, but this upscaled looks really pretty. Like, this looks genuinely like some incredible pixel art. I feel like this looks more like it's like late PlayStation, early Genesis, sort of, or late Genesis artwork in terms of how they've done the pixel art. So, I don't know if it generally looked like this originally, but I'm really into this. So yeah, it's basically a yokai shmup game. You pretty much it's kind of almost like a beat 'em up, actually. It's probably a better phrasing. Isn't that the girl in the Family Guy meme? What? Man, I'm not gonna know any Family Guy memes. What are you talking about? I'd totally play as the Fox Spirit though. I like it's just showing you how power-ups work. And if you get full power, apparently you get a really cool tune. There's some like, it reminds me a little bit of whatever the Thief, I forgot the Thief's name. It reminds me of that game as well that I kind of want to play as well. which was a series in itself. But this boss looks pretty intense. I can't tell if this is one boss or is it a boss rush. But yes, Pocky and Rocky. I'm not sure if that's the original name. I thought it was Poco and Rocco or something like that. But anyway, this looks genuinely very, very good. I'm very excited for this, just because it was a game I actually genuinely wanted to play. And I could always go play it on emulator, but this actually looks like a really clean up-res. So yeah, looking forward to that. Updates. Elden Ring patch update further changes Scar Surge Radahn. So you guys didn't hear, Radahn got heavily nerfed in patch 1.03 or whatever it was, and people were a bit disappointed because it sounded like he got nerfed in a way that made him very easy. However, I have fought him since this patch, and I don't know if it really makes him any harder again. So basically what they've done is they've fixed up apparently supposedly bugs around his hit tests and things like that, to make him actually hit properly, but he still essentially is kind of the same, unfortunately. He's still a bit easy to do, which is a bit disappointing because if you remember, I did him on stream and he was quite tough. And he's an interesting boss fight, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily he wasn't needing a nerf. I felt like there's definitely one other character I think that might need to get a slight adjustment, but definitely I definitely didn't feel the changes, honestly, in terms of like trying to make him harder again. I'm not sure. Hey Zigzagoon, welcome on in. So what's this? What have you linked? This looks kind of cursed. Okay. Thank you for that, Metagame. I have no idea what that was. I've been good. Just started internship and trying to get used to my new lifestyle. I'm excited for you, Kuro. Have you been enjoying it? How long does your internship go for? Have you got like sort of a time frame, or is it you just go until like you've completed certain studies? Patch 6.1 preliminary patch notes are now live for Final Fantasy XIV. So I am looking forward to this patch. It is the continuation of the story. It's the first glimpse we're getting of the future of what, of essentially what the story will be ongoing from here for Final Fantasy XIV, because we came to the conclusion Endbreaker finished off the main story that we've been doing for the past few generations of past few expansions, since basically the launch of base 14, not even Realm Reborn. That story has finally come to an end, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing where we go, what happens to the Warrior of Light. We've been given a few clues essentially at the end of the Endwalker sort of story beats and what they talked about, but yeah, I don't know. Curious. There's a lot of stuff, so if you want to know what's coming up, check out the patch notes. I won't go through it. We've been through a little bit of the stuff already. I won't go through the nitty gritty, but the new raid is coming and it looks good. Rika from Higurashi. Oh, is that what that was? It's a pretty heavy horror-like anime. Oh, I had no idea what that was. Currently trying to recreate Rex from Star Wars in XCOM 2. Should I try for it to appear in the Rebels or stick? I'm not sure. I don't know who that character is, Zigzagoon. I haven't watched either of those. I'm gonna go with Clone Wars because they're funny Play-Doh men. Stranger in Paradise, auto dismantle added. Multiplayer progression bug fixed in 1.03. So I only want to talk about this particular patch is because it sounds like that means the team are doing stuff with Stranger of Paradise, and this means, fingers crossed, they are working on improvements, because this title doesn't include it, but supposedly there are improvements to the game's functionality, and I don't know if it necessarily has fixed a whole heap of the bugs in terms of like, or just development problems for how inefficient this game has been made. But if you don't know, we were planning to play this this month, but it sounds like the PC port is extremely poor, to the point that I don't think it's worth picking up until I get a clear indication that it's been fixed. But I really do want to play this game at some point, but we really will have to wait essentially till this gets fixed. It's interesting to see a whole heap of these tech changes that have been made, but I wonder whether or not it will fix the major problems this game has for running, because I'm so on the verge of just picking it up, testing it, and if it doesn't work, then trying to get a refund, because I really want to play it. But it says, applicable to the Epic Game Store, resolved issues where the game was sometimes using integrated graphics instead of GPUs. This is insane. The fact that this was a bug at all is pretty bad, and it explains why people were just suddenly having memory drops and frame rate issues and all this sort of stuff. But I really do hope that the combination of these two might have improved the game. Again, I want to maybe wait a little bit longer. I'm really on the verge of picking it up though. I will think about it. But yeah, bit of a sad state of affairs for that. I have mods that allow for one to be done, but I have to improvise a little. Do whatever your heart decides, Zigzagoon. Metroid Dread. We've almost finished it. We'll be probably finishing it today easily from the sounds of it. Boss Rush modes added in 2.01. So this sounds like what all the content pretty much have been asking for this game. It's very cool to see Nintendo being very positive on sort of moving to a live service for their games to some degree. Like they putting out like a full game for full price and then providing extra content for free. I honestly think this is one of the best methods that games can have in terms of giving people a full game and then giving them a little bit more, as well as fixing bugs along the side of it. It makes the change in game development cycles to not have this weird, once it goes gold, it pretty much gets dropped, and you just have essentially a skeleton crew doing patch jobs on it. Instead, it makes it so that the team that were working on it mostly is still around for a little bit longer, just so they can have a cool off with the game, so they can make sure they can fix any problems. That makes they can make any additional content to make it sell a bit better and have a bit of longer lifestyle, and as well as get around to things that are just nice quality of lives that they may not have realized until the release of the game came out. And I think that's pretty fucking cool, and I'm kind of into that. It's a reason why I'm a big fan of how Monster Hunter does their content, but it's not going to be every company. But I do think Nintendo is, of all companies, they have the ability to do it, as long as they don't start scrapping away at from taking things that should be at the base game's original release, which we have seen that in some of these services already. I mean, Rise is a good example of that in a weird way, but I don't think that one was an intentional for that. But yeah, pretty cool. All right, anime time. So I've got a couple of anime news pieces I thought worth chucking in here. Made in Abyss Season 2 will be airing in July 2022. So we're getting another season of Made in Abyss. From what I haven't actually watched this series, but I've heard a lot of things about it, and people have talked how this series is very grimdark and sounded like it had a pretty definitive conclusion. So I'm not quite sure how this goes. There was the movie called The Golden City and the Scorching Sun, which did quite well. So people are ready for some more Made in Abyss, it seems. And yeah, I guess we'll see. I think people are kind of into it. Which leads us into our next post. Made in Abyss Binary Star Falling into the Darkness launches this fall and gets a debut trailer. So we actually watched the trailer for this quite some time back, and genuinely this looked quite good visually. And now we're actually getting a full trailer for the release of the game, which seemingly is a unique story. And I think people will be excited for it. I wish I knew what was going on in this though. Like, it's genuinely quite stunning artwork at times.
She risked her life to protect is still going strong to this day.
Leader,
Ooh, okay. All right, the cuts. This looks a little bit worse
A robot? So,
than we originally saw it. It seems.
You two aren't cut out for it.
I already knew how you
Texture
felt.
work is
My
pretty
body
poor.
remembers. I've done something like this before. Let's go, Reg.
I'd like to see. I'd probably want to see more of the game. Wait. Oh, wait. Hang on. You can make a custom character.
Let's go.
Ooh, this game looks a little rough, doesn't it? I hadn't realized that. I hadn't seen this trailer till now because we saw the original trailer. Dude, wow. Okay, that looked pretty dark. We just saw an eviscerated child.
Let things end in a place like this.
Man, I have no idea what was happening in that, but is that it? Is that was probably a really important reveal of sorts, but that just seemed very comical there. But yeah, well, that's just disappointing. I actually thought that it looked a little bit better in the original trailer, but it's we'll see. Probably fans of this series may enjoy it and might have a unique story that might make it worth. And the last piece of news, something that I need to catch up on. Demon Slayer's new series came out. Kimetsu no Yaiba's Hinokami Chronicles gets paid DLC, which seemingly is bringing in 3 new demons, and it looks like Hachiko's, like, she looks more adult. She got booba, and I guess it looks like they've got quite a few different things adding here. So this is, if you're already playing this game, you probably are aware of it, and if you're following the series, you're probably excited for this. So sorry, I said Hachiko, didn't I? I meant Nezuko. So I don't know if I'd play this game, but it is a good reminder that the second series is out and to watch it, I think. All right. Gaming controversies. So we have really just the one today, which I thought was worth bringing up, is something I don't know sure people are aware of. I had a few people bring it up to me. I wasn't completely aware of this. Miss Pac-Man has been removed from recent Bandai titles over licensing dispute. So I did not know this. Apparently, Miss Pac-Man is not actually owned by Bandai Namco. It actually was made by a company called GCC, General Computer Corporation, which was a remodeled version of Pac-Man made to be inspired by, just to extend out, and so they must have gotten the rights to be able to make a clone from Pac-Man. But essentially, it sounds like when Midway made this deal, they had these rights and royalties associated directly to this company for Miss Pac-Man. And now, because Bandai Namco are not too thrilled about that, and Miss Pac-Man appeared in multiple different things, they've essentially gone and removed her out of a heap of games to make a new character called Pac-Mum. And Pac-Mum, which I don't know if she's new or if she's just being used heavier. And essentially, Pac-Mum has been now taking the place of Miss Pac-Man, and essentially that's who you will see from here on out. So anytime you see essentially the character that was Miss Pac-Man, you're looking at a Pac-Mum. And these things happen, but this is a bit of a weirder one than normal. But yeah. So I imagine GCC is probably pretty upset by it, but it's one of those things, I have no idea if this company's even still around. I've never even really heard of them. And I would imagine that if so, it's probably just a very small collective of people. Yeah. Oh no, Pac-Mum? I know, this is a bit of a weird one. It was just a funny thing to come across during the week. Which leads us into another almost funny thing. Big business. So we're going to cap off this week with 2 big businesses. One, which I kind of laughed when I saw this. We've talked about this before, but if you guys don't know, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has now 96% stake in SNK. SNK, the company that is makes essentially King of Fighters and a few other fighting games, and it's just this is kind of weird. It's very kind of strange that there is essentially a royal family in the world that basically owns 100% of a video game company. And I'll be honest, people were pretty happy with how the new King of Fighters turned out, but it's like, I don't know if it's like going to sell gangbuster numbers. It's still got a lot of like rough edges around it, but SMK people or King of Fighters fans getting what they want, and there's been some new stuff in terms of development in relations to their other games, and perhaps maybe we'll see more stuff, but it really is, this is just a very strange investment, that a bizarre combination of two entities essentially interacting. Yeah, very, very strange. Though something they've brought up in this article that I haven't talked about, I don't think, before, is Saudi Arabia is known to have poor human rights record, declaring homosexuality to be a crime, for example, and one punishable from everything from flogging to execution. So, I mean, taking those sorts of things into consideration as well, maybe you can think about these things as well when it comes into essentially, if you do pick up an SNK game. But yeah, it's a very strange, very, very, very strange circumstances. I'm not even sure if someone else can refer me to like a case where there is other ownerships that are basically essentially royal families, or almost like individuals that are not connected to a corporation per se. I'd like to know to this degree. Like 96% is pretty insane. But yeah. Sometimes a brand just goes. And to finish off today, Lego and Epic to form a new partnership to create a kid-friendly metaverse. So this one's kind of weird, but we've had lots of news about metaverses recently. Not the metaverse, which again, such a strange thing for them to change the Facebook name to metaverse when essentially metaverse is a term. But yes, so it seems like Lego is wanting to make essentially a space of content that essentially can then be interacting back with like communities and children and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know how, like, it's a hard thing to do, because like if you were to look at Roblox as an example, it's difficult to keep those sorts of things under control, especially if they expand to a certain degree. But Lego has been extremely good about sort of managing their IPs in the past, so perhaps that it will go well, and Epic as a base for it probably works fine. So we'll see. I know a lot of people complaining about metaverses and stuff like that, but I think it's one of those things that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter unless they start tying interactions directly to having to play the game or use their service or something to actually use it. But I don't think they would ever really do that, especially for something like Lego. But yeah, metaverse, it's coming for you. You're gonna have to be a part of the metaverse. Jack on in. You're part of the Matrix now. And I think that's all the news for today. So like I said, not a huge amount, but some interesting things in there. And I'm kind of excited for a few things that we've seen throughout the week, but we're definitely in the lull period as we get sort of ramped up and get ready for possibly a very big E3 time period, which, by the way, I keep saying E3 time period. Maybe we have to rename it. I keep saying E3 even though E3 is not coming in. Like, there's no E3 this year, and people are concerned that E3 might just be cancelled flat out from here on. It might, that organization might just fall apart. But it won't stop announcements and release periods for being at that time period. We know that the Summer of Games will probably be running this year, and we'll probably be seeing quite a lot of essentially either studios doing their own directs, essentially just copying like the Nintendo format, or we're going to see essentially bigger sort of organizations sort of round up some people and then do some talks. So I would say that the Summer of Games will probably be the thing that takes over. And I mean, Jeff Niley is like the guy. So if anyone were to spearhead a new version of that, I definitely think it'd be him. What'd be the highlights for you for this news? Oh, I don't think you can ask me that, Alex. It becomes a bit of a blur when I cover this many pieces of articles. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that there's I would say the Pocky and Rocky game. I would say that the 14 news, because that's only in a few days. I think it actually comes out 3 days from now, so I'm looking forward to the new patch. And maybe if that news about the Stranger in Paradise. So I think that if Stranger in Paradise gets a good patch that fixes a lot of the problems, we may see me streaming that game, because it looks like a bit of dumb fun for the story. And if you've played Neo, you'll understand why I'm very excited for this game, because I very, very much like Neo 1 and 2. I think that team, Team Ninja, are very, very good. All right. I'm going to take a quick break now. We will come back for Metroid Dread, which I'm not sure how long I got. I don't know if it's like an hour, 2 hours. We might get this finished halfway through the day, and then from there we could probably jump into something else. I don't know if we'd jump into necessarily Yu-Gi-Oh! It's likely I would. Maybe we could do some Mario Kart. I was thinking of some indie games that I've also got to play, but I don't know if I want to start them necessarily today. But we've got some choices, essentially. We've got some choices, essentially. All right. I'm going to take a quick break and play some video games. Be right back.